Hello! You're watching Claws, Paws and Tentacles, the show that teaches you how to care for animals around the world. And as you can see, we're super excited this week. This week's audience are the Spen Valley and Birkenshaw Cubs and Scouts from West Yorkshire. And we'll be saying hello to Scooby, the bearded dragon, along with some other exotic pets a little later on in the show. We'll be learning about where they come from, what they eat, and how to look after them.
I'm going to be investigating how seal pups are affected by plastic. But first I'm going to be paying a visit to see everyone's favourite orange apes. Here's what I discovered about how orangutans are affected by palm oil at Chester Zoo.
I'm in the realm of red ape here at Chester Zoo. I'm here to explore how orangutans are affected by palm oil production. But what is palm oil? Palm oil is a vegetable oil made from the fruits of a tree called the African oil palms. It's an attractive product for farmers to produce as it's super efficient.
So how is an efficient crop affecting our orange friends? Let's find out.
Alex is a member of the Chester Zoo Rangers team and works closely with the Palm Oil Challenge campaign. What can you tell us about the threats that orangutans face in the wild?
Well, the biggest threat, as you just mentioned, is the palm oil trade. So as for orangutans, obviously the palm oil doesn't affect them, but the actual use of their land. So when they make these palm oil plantations, they need to make space, and they'll usually cut down and burn away all the vegetation in the habitat that these orangutans live. So I do have a little bit of a graphic here for you guys. We have pretend it's a rainforest there, and we can see that these orangutans would have 12 squares as their habitat. Now what they are doing is they need to make space, so they will chop down bits of land for our palm oil plantations. So when they do that, unfortunately the orangutans can't go in there. They're seen as a pest, and they'll usually be driven away by the plantation owners and anybody working in. So as you can see now, they've already lost 1 square, but unfortunately, because it's used so heavily today, they're actually losing more and more of their space. But the real problem is the fact that they are found sporadically throughout the habitat. It actually breaks them up. So if we put one here and say another habitat here, you'll see that we actually have 8 spaces left for our orangutans. Unfortunately though, because they can't cross this border or this border, each orangutan in that area only has 4 squares, and each orangutan only has 4 squares there.
How much habitat would you say the orangutans have lost?
Well, they've already lost over 50% of their habitat. Wow. So you can imagine it as waking up one morning and someone chopped your house in half. It wouldn't be an ideal thing for you, and it's definitely not an ideal thing for the orangutan. So we do have 2 different species of orangutans here. You can see this orangutan right by the window. This is one of our Bornean orangutans. They're, as you can see, a bit of a darker color than you might imagine orangutans. So the other species that we have are the Sumatran orangutan, but they're a bit more orange in color. We have a nice little Sumatran family here. They do a really good job at breeding. We have the 2 sisters, and then we have an adult male somewhere around here. His name is Pula. The Chester Zoo is really trying to be at the forefront of fighting the issues with palm oil. They've been working with all the visitors and anybody who is interested in the zoo and getting them to do this palm oil challenge where they swap items that they may be using that don't use sustainable palm oil to ones that do. We've made a shopping list they can download online, and it tells them all the brands that do have sustainable palm oil and the little logos that they can look out for.
Thankfully, we have a breeding program here to help ensure the safety of the species. But what can we do at home to help? Let's head back to the studio and find out.
Did you know the word orangutan means person of the forest in Indonesian?
I can see that actually. They've got really human-like hands. Here to tell us all about how we can help the orangutans is Michelle Desolé from Forest for Orangutans.
So, palm oil is affecting orangutans in places like Indonesia. and Malaysia, but how can people in the UK help?
Well, it's this thing about palm oil, and it's in so many things that we eat, drink, and use every day. And so we're asking people to just have a look, find out what's containing palm oil, look at the product ingredients. Is palm oil there? And maybe it might even have a logo that says sustainable palm oil. Now, sustainable means that it's been produced in a way that doesn't hurt the orangutans and other animals and doesn't cause deforestation. That's what we want to see. So, and if you're unsure, contact the company. Go on Twitter, go on Facebook, send a letter, and tell them it's important to you that the palm oil in your products are deforestation-free and orangutan-friendly.
So what if we bought sustainable palm oil products, what would that do to help the orangutans?
Well, that would mean that those growers in Indonesia and Malaysia are going to stay away from the forested areas where the orangutans live and grow their product in other places where it doesn't cause that damage.
So that would be the exact same if you were to buy a palm oil product, then it would be helping for deforestation, wouldn't it? And we don't want that.
If you bought a product that had palm oil but it wasn't sustainable, that means it could have been created by destroying the habitat of the orangutan. So we want to make that choice, go for sustainable palm oil.
There we go. And so now we've got 2 volunteers from our audience here, and we've set a challenge, haven't we?
That's right. See if they're up for it.
Let's go over to Care Corner. Hey guys.
Hey.
So, what are your guys' names then?
Jack and Max.
Jack and Max. Which one's Jack? Which one's Max?
I'm Jack, he's Max.
Ooh, wicked! Awesome. So, what would you like to explain the
Yeah,
game?
we've got a palm oil challenge here. We've got 30 seconds to organize these products into those that don't contain palm oil and those that you think do contain palm oil. Now, what have we got here? We've got some bread in a packet. We've got cookies, some instant noodles, some soap. You guys all washed your hands and face this morning. Lipstick. I forgot to put mine on this morning. There you go. There you go. Got some lipstick. Ooh, you know what that is? Believe it or not, it's ice cream.
Ooh, love ice
and
cream.
Chocolate. This is not milk, but it's washing detergent. And of course, margarine.
So, guys, are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
We have 30 seconds and go.
Where's it go? You sure about this? Make sure you're in agreement now. What do you think?
I think this goes in that pack.
You reckon
Got
it
it,
goes
but-
there? Okay, loaf of
You guys
bread.
have got 20 seconds left.
Oh, you're
20
doing really
seconds.
well.
You're
You
doing
just
so good, guys.
Oh, instant noodles, instant noodles. Okay, you want to check your work? Check your work. You got your
You
soap.
guys
your
have 10
washing
seconds. You can
detergent.
check it through now, guys, if you want. You've got 10
Bread.
seconds.
Anything else you want to switch over at last minute?
5,
No,
4,
Jack, that's
3,
right.
2, 1, and step away from the desk. Well done, guys.
Wow.
So,
Well, Jack, Max, have I got a surprise for you? Believe it or not, they all contain palm oil. Here's your detergent, your bread, your soap, your cookies, ice cream, margarine, chocolate, and instant noodles all contain palm oil. So let's remember that we're going to check the labels for palm oil and insist upon sustainable palm oil.
well, I'm definitely going to be checking the labels next time I go shopping. Thank you so much to Michelle, Jack, and Max. Can we give them a round of applause, everybody? So, here's the link to the shopping list supported by Chester Zoo. And be sure to follow the link to Forest for Orangutans to find out how you could look after them. Now, it's time to head over to Care Corner, where Hamish is joined by handler Josh and some exotic pets.
Some of you might think reptiles look scary, but keeping exotic pets such as snakes like Darwin here are becoming more and more popular. But often families don't realise how complex caring for an exotic pet is. Here we have some of the most common exotic pets. Josh, can you talk us through who we've got in the studio today?
Yep, so here we have Darwin, the royal python from Central Africa, and probably the most common pet snake you'll ever get, just because they're friendly, they're easy to look after, and don't get much bigger than this really.
Okay.
And the key things you need to know about looking after a snake, that they need a heat mat, or some sort of heat source, because they are unable to regulate their own temperature like we are, so they need to go somewhere to warm themselves up. And they can't eat dog food, sadly. So pythons like Darwin need to eat mice or rats, and they also need a large enclosure with plenty of hiding places.
Okay, and who else have we got?
Over here we have Scooby, the bearded dragon from Central Australia. And unfortunately, we had to rescue Scooby from his previous owner as he wasn't looked after properly.
How come?
They just didn't feed him and he just ended up nearly starving to death, sadly.
Okay.
But he's quite on the road to recovery now. And to look after a bearded dragon properly, again, you need a heat mat or some sort of heat source. And they also need a large enclosure with a lot of climbing space as they like to move around. They should also be fed live insects and greens, such as salad, to keep them healthy.
And what we've got next?
Like here, we have Danae, the Chilean rosehair tarantula. And tarantula, they're basically a pet rock as far as you go.
Yeah.
'Cause
do they not do much?
No, not really.
No.
Most of them you can put them in a box of dirt fine, feed them live insects every now and again, and you can't go far wrong.
Yeah. And who's the last one we've got?
Down on the end here we have Winnie, the Horsefield tortoise. She's from sort of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And tortoises need special lighting, as they need UV light to help with the shell.
Okay.
And they also need a heat lamp, such as these two do, in order to grow properly.
That's really good, Josh.
Wow, that's amazing. Look at that. Wow. So now, as you can see, keeping a pet like Scooby is a lot of responsibility, so always seek advice as a family before getting an exotic pet. Head over to the CBBC website for more tips and advice on how to care for animals. So, Hamish, where else have you been?
Well, Tom, I've actually been to the seaside.
The seaside? What were you doing there?
Let's have a look.
This week at the Scarborough Sea Life Sanctuary. I'm here to investigate how plastic affects seal pups like this little guy.
And his other friends at the Sea Life Sanctuary.
Aren't they cute? I'm here with Jordan, who's been working here for 4 years. Jordan, how come we do get seals come in which have been affected by plastic?
We'd probably get a few cases a year. We would normally go out with a call of something like a frisbee wrapped around the neck or some sort of ghost fishing wire, something like that. It can be all up and down the coast, from right up at Ravenscow, which is a few miles north, down to Brid, which is a few miles south.
Do you have any at the moment which have been affected by plastic at all?
Not that we can confirm. This one has come in with an abrasion to its eye. It could have been caused by plastic, it could have been caused by something that's been thrown into the sea. It definitely could have swallowed some microplastics from fish, and then there could be plastics in its body, certainly.
Microplastics harm seals when they get into the food chain by eating fish who have mistaken the microplastic for food. Seals then digest harmful plastic.
What type of plastics generally would you find?
Plastic bags, frisbees like that, netting, fishing wire is a big one, so lures, things that will get caught around the necks, that sort of thing.
And why do you think plastic's such a common problem for seals?
I think it's a two-pronged thing. I think firstly there's so much plastic and pollution in the ocean at the moment, unfortunately. And unfortunately for seals, they're quite curious and they want to know what things are in their environment. So they'll go up to a plastic bag or a frisbee or something and they'll get caught in it, and ultimately it ends up costing them.
This is Oasis. He came to us when he was about 3 weeks old as an abandoned seal pup. He was very underweight and he had some infection around his mouth and a burden of parasites. He's now been treated for his infection, for his parasites, and now we just need to teach him to eat. Once he's learned to eat, he will be released back out into the wild. So this seal came in last night. It's suspected that it's got something wrong with its eye. It looks like an ulcer or some sort of abrasion. More than likely it's been caused by another seal, but equally it could have been caused by something that's been thrown in the sea, you know, a tyre, something that floats perhaps, something that it's been interested in, and it's ended up causing that damage to its eye.
Seeing how these little fellas are affected firsthand makes me want to know what we can do to help. Time to head back to our studio and meet our expert.
Looks like you made a friend there, Hamish.
Yeah, I'm asking for a second date. And if you want to follow any of the progress of the seal pups at the sanctuary, head to the CBBC website.
To tell you how we can help seals, we're joined by Stuart, who is a marine biologist and conservationist, currently studying a PhD in conservation biology. So, what can we do to help keep the seals safe from harm?
Well, unfortunately, there's lots of ways that plastics can get into the ocean, but it does mean that there's lots of things that we can do to try and help prevent that. So when you're going down to the beach, anything you take with you, make sure you try and take it back from the beach as well. But if you can get involved in beach cleans and these things like that, so you can go down with a big group of people to the beach, organised through someone like the National Trust or the Marine Conservation Society. If you just Google beach clean, there's loads around the country. You go down with a big group and just collect as much rubbish as you can away from the beach and stop it washing back out into the ocean and affecting the seal pups. But on a day-to-day scale, we can reduce all of our single-use plastics, because these are the ones that break down into the really little microplastics, and then get ingested into the tummies of the seals, and that can make them ill.
Oh no!
And stop them from having babies and these things like that. So if we can stop using as much single-use plastics in our day-to-day lives, so like plastic bags that you might take shopping, try and use sort of canvas ones made out of material, reuse them over and over again. We all know we want to stay nice and hydrated, drink lots of water, but try and use bottles that we can use over and over again, and don't just sort of buy and then throw away.
We're now going to join some more members of our audience who are going to teach us how to turn a plastic bottle into a little plant pot. So, let's go to Care Corner, shall we? So, what are your guys' names then?
Megan.
Megan and Alfie. Fantastic to meet you guys. So, let's see what we're doing here today then.
Right, Megan and Alfie, what we're going to do is some of these bottles here that we might end up with that are single use, we're going to try and give them a second lease of life. So what we can do is very carefully, using some scissors, we can cut them in half and then glam them up a bit, give them a bit of paint. So this one's nice and purple. What would you paint yours?
Yellow.
Yellow, Alfie?
Red.
Yeah, great colours. They make
Awesome
awesome
colours,
plant
yeah.
pots. And then we can jazz them up a little bit more. What's that one, Alfie?
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur. We've got a little rabbit as well, pink rabbit. Nice little cat at the end. Or this nice little bit of a gold flourish on there. So yeah, we can take from something that might end up in the ocean to something really, really pretty that you can put around the house in the plant pots. Would you end up doing something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So, thank you so much for that, guys. Reusing and recycling is easy if you know how. Go to reusethisbag.org for more tips, and if you want to participate in a beach clean in your area, head to the Marine Conservation Society website. Thank you so much to these guys and to our fantastic audience from Spen Valley and Birkenshaw Clubs and Scouts for being part of today's show. Guys, give yourselves a round of applause because you guys are doing fantastic. If you are part of an extracurricular club or you want your class to be in our audience, visit the CBBC website where you can apply and find all of today's activities as well as fun quizzes, games and animal fact files.
Next week's show is jam-packed, so be sure not to miss it. I'll be exploring ways in which we can help save bees and visiting some rescued elephants.
And we'll also be joined by Sherlock.
Who's Sherlock?
Well, I'm glad you asked. He's a guide dog in training from the National Guide Dog Training Facility in Atherton, who I have arranged to come to Care Corner next week.
Brilliant, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, he is. I tell you what,
Wait. We'll have to wait there. We're out of time.
Aww.
But don't worry, we'll be back next week at 4 p.m. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.